Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, Unleash the Power of Texting in Your Sales Process. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing SEO, the absolute best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the brand new Chameleon Responsive Website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that DealerOn is still the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Well, then maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website, DealerOn.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're so very pleased to have the one and only Elise Kephart as our presenter today. Elise Kephart is the VP of Internet Sales Training at Phone Ninjas, a company focused on helping dealerships improve phone skills. An international sales and marketing phenomenon in the auto industry, Elise is nationally recognized as the YouTube Diva for her persuasive, personalized video greetings. Since 2007, she's sold countless vehicles to clients by creating a strong bond with her customers through the power of unique video messages. Among her high-volume sales, she's also earned top-performing CSI. With her unique approach to videos, her phone skills, and selling background, Elise has visited dealerships across the country, teaching her one-of-a-kind method. Her approach has been praised by the likes of Ziegler, Cardone, and Bradley. She has been published in magazines both in the U.S. and in Canada. Elise has presented at seminars, including Ziegler's IBP, Driving Sales Executive Summit, and Digital Dealer. And she can be reached at elise@phoneninjas.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try and respond to you by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our friends at Phone Ninjas are giving away a fantastic prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a box of Pecan Jacks. These delightful snacks have been dubbed the most delicious candy ever. Everyone, say it with me, yum! And one of you lucky webinar attendees is going to be scoring this totally cool prize today. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though. All you have to do is stay tuned for the details after Elise's presentation, and you could be scoring this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get a short survey. So fill it out, because we're always looking for your feedback. Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to win some Google prizes. And hey, do you tweet much? Well, you know what? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you had to say about today's presentation, so please tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. You can reach me. I'm at Eliana Raggio, and Elise is at the YouTube Diva. Now let's get started. Let's learn to unleash the power of texting in your sales process. Elise Kephart, it is always a good day when I have you on my show. Thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you again so much for having me. I think you and I had originally, we've been planning this for a while. We talked about it, I believe, at NADA back in January. And so for me, it took a minute for me to kind of gather my thoughts on what I really wanted to talk about. And my last webinar, if you attended that, and if not, I know DealerOn has a copy of it, we talked about the internet sales process, or a follow-up process. We went really into detail step by step. And what we talked about in that webinar, was essentially anything that you do in your follow-up process is guided to get that customer live on a phone call. And one of those steps, I believe it was step 4, was utilizing text message. So this is kind of a breakout or a little bit more in-depth of ways that you can use text messaging in that follow-up process that I discussed on DealerOn's last webinar. So we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about email versus texting within your dealership. We're going to learn some of the text regulations in 2015, because I know there's a lot of conferences that I've been to and a lot of people that I speak to, there's a lot of questions about that. Is your dealership management reviewing your sales staff text? So we're going to learn about the different ways that management can know what text conversations are going on amongst their internet, EDC, or sales staff. And then we're going to learn about some texting that is available where you have mobile templates or mobile pages, so to speak, that you can send to customers. And then at the end, we're going to do a question and answer. So let's go ahead and get started. Email versus texting.
And it looks like we're going to start off with a poll question, right?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, audience, you only have 2 poll questions today, and the first one is on the screen now. So we want to know, because text messaging isn't for everyone, but we want to know, do you currently use text messaging on your smartphone? And we're not talking about sales or anything. We're just talking, do you text? Some people do, some people don't. We want to know if you're one of those texters. Please select one of the following answers. Yes, I actually prefer text messaging to voice. Yes, I use text about 50% of the time. Yes, but I don't really care for text messaging. No way, I can't stand it. I don't even know how to text. Any of those, right? Or I don't have a smartphone. Once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. I'm just going to share my own personal views on text messaging. I like it, but I would say I would probably do it about 50% of the time. I know you didn't ask me, but since I don't get to vote in the polls, I thought I'd just share that with you. An audience? What?
Yeah, I'll share my like when it comes to texting for me, I do utilize it, but it's never my main form of communication. So, for example, my best friend and I, we were talking about something the other day, and it was kind of an important topic, and then I just ended up calling her, and we always, whenever it's something important that we want to talk about, we always started off with, I just thought I'd call you because it's way easier than text to explain all of this, right, or to go over all this. So I do use texting, but it's typically not, long, drawn-out, important conversations or anything like that.
Agreed.
Short, simple.
And I mean, I make my living with my voice, right? So you would think I would use my voice more often, right? The most unlikely person in the world, my own mother, she prefers text over anything. She won't even pick up the phone if I call her, probably. But, geez Louise, the woman texts like it's nobody's business. She loves text. So some people love it, some people don't.
I gotta give this little 2 cents too. Both my grandmothers now text message. One of my grandmothers has had an iPhone for about a year, and when she first texted me, it was like, whoa, like I'm text messaging with my grandma, but it's kind of cool to see that happen at the same time.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's close this poll. Almost everyone's voted. Audience, thank you so much. You guys rock. Okay, let's get to this. So 65% of today's audience, not surprisingly, says yes, they do, and they prefer text messaging. 32% of today's audience said yes, they agree with me. They use text about 50% of the time. And only 4% of today's audience said yes, but truthfully, they don't really care for text messaging. Now, Elise, no one answered the bottom 2, just so you know. So everyone here, everyone that's on the call is familiar with texting, yes.
Okay, all right, good. I would really think so. Like I said, just giving that example of, I have two grandparents that utilize text messaging. It's pretty common in today's world. Now, when it comes to the internet sales process and the different forms of communication, when it comes to email, and we talked a little bit about this last time. When it comes to email, last time I went over utilizing video and sending video through your CRM or through email. I always would send a confirmation, something in plain text with no hyperlinks, no images, just to make sure that it, just to try and get it outside of that spam filter. But the truth of the matter is, with email, you have the chance of going in the spam filter. It's only a 22% open rate on email. A lot of us get so many emails that when we're scrolling through it on our smartphone, we don't always open all of them, or we'll just do an automatic delete, delete, delete until we find something that we were expecting or something that was important to us. With email, a lot of times it's slow response. So you might read an email, but you might not respond to it right away. When it comes to chat, if you have a chat icon on your dealership, a lot of times when a customer goes on your website to create a chat, that person expects like an immediate response, meaning if the person who's on the other end of that chat session doesn't respond within seconds, the person who originally started that chat almost gets kind of irritated a little bit and just logs off. I know for me, what was it? It was something with my cell phone. When I went to, I'm sorry, not my cell phone, my cable company, I couldn't log in to pay my bill. My username and password just wasn't working. So I hit the little chat with us now button, and I sat there, and it probably wasn't that long, but maybe I have a little bit of ADD, but I was sitting there, and it said, wait, please wait while one of our agents, responds to you. And I was sitting there, and nobody was responding to me, and it probably was, maybe for 30 seconds or so, but I just got kind of irritated. I was like, forget it. I'm gonna try calling them instead, because I didn't have that patience to wait for someone to respond to me on chat. So chat, the expectation there is that someone's just right on the other end, ready to respond to you in seconds. With texting, the expectation isn't as stringent, meaning a lot of times if you send a text message, someone's not necessarily expecting a response right away that they would expect on a chat session. And then also with chat, the person handling any type of chat leads typically has to be tied to their computer screen for the duration of a chat. If I get a text message, I might real quick open that text message. But if I'm driving in my car, or if I'm if I'm in a meeting or anything to where I can't respond right away, that's acceptable with text messaging versus chat. Someone has to always kind of be there to respond with it. The benefits of texting, there's really no spam filter essentially, meaning if you have a person's cell phone and you're able to text with them, it's typically always going to go through. And you have a faster response rate with text, meaning, again, there's that expectation that you don't have to respond right away, but statistically, on a text message, someone is going to respond within 90 seconds versus it's actually supposed to be 90 minutes, my apologies, 90 minutes on an email. With text message, you have that one-on-one communication. So we were talking about this before the webinar started, and I didn't realize that everybody was listening. But we were talking about the technology these days, and things that in our lifetime we can remember doing, such as having to develop film rather than just have 6,000 photos on your iPhone or your smartphone that you can take. Same thing with with a telephone. If you wanted to communicate with somebody, you either had to get them on the phone, or you had to send them. You would write a letter to someone or send them something in the mail. Those were essentially the only two forms of communication. And through time, we've seen chat develop, we've seen email develop, and then text messaging, really has started to take off as well to create that one-on-one, communication. And like I said, typically all text messages are going to go through. You have a 97% open rate, which you don't, compared to that 22% on an email. And when it comes to text messaging, if a customer were to opt in on your website, let's say, or send the dealership a text message, they don't necessarily have to, fill out a full form where they give their full name and they give their last name and they give their email address. A lot of customers are threatened by that sometimes up front. And it goes back to that stereotype that unfortunately dealerships are recovering from, that stereotype where a car salesperson is a car salesperson, and people sometimes fear the dealership like they fear going to the dentist. It's just something they don't want to do. So when someone submits a lead, a lot of times they don't feel comfortable giving all their information up front, because at that point there's no trust factor, there's no reason to, because they might have a pre-negotiated notion of what a car salesperson, what a dealership is. Now, texting guidelines. So ultimately, with texting available, I would always use it, and I still recommend, I'm going to use text messaging strictly for going back to that one-on-one communication. And I'm utilizing it because I want a text message to basically gain a little bit of trust, but I ultimately will still want to get that customer on the phone. And so a lot of times through quick communication via text, you can build a relationship to get that customer to trust you enough to actually have a phone call conversation with them. I don't have a slide, and I should have put it on here, but way back in the day when I wasn't dating my husband, I remember working at a dealership, and dealership hours can be pretty rigorous, so I did a little bit of online dating. And with online dating, it's an interesting concept because, typically you build a profile on, let's say, eharmony.com, and then you start to get emails from prospects, or we'll say potential people that want to date you. But that dating service, it doesn't write a, you don't send an email to each other and then meet up for a date. Typically, a lot of times through that email, you might get each other's phone numbers, you might text message back and forth for a little bit, which leads to a phone call, which then eventually leads to, grabbing coffee or meeting each other in person. And so it's kind of that same relationship building process when you're trying to get a customer to come in for an appointment. A lot of times they might I'm going to sneeze here, but I'm going to hold it back. Sorry about that. A lot of times they might not trust you up front. They might not trust you as a salesperson. So, with text messaging, you're able to build kind of that relationship to get that customer on the phone. But there's some key factors, and you guys have probably all heard about a lot of different lawsuits with the various dealer groups who took advantage of the fact of texting. So you do, from a legal standpoint, you do need to get authorization from the customer to text them. There's a couple different ways you can do that, and I'm going to show you one. One is to get a widget on your website. So, for example, I'm going to go to...
Ooh, we're going live.
Yep, we're going live real quick. I'm going to go to, this is the Phone Ninjas website. I'm just showing it as an example. It could be any website. Your website company should be able to provide what's called a widget. And a widget is something that you could put on the side, on the bottom. And some of that stands out, but basically where it says, hey, text, I can help, text me, or you can modify it to whatever message you want. But when a customer clicks on that, they could then, put in, the only thing that's mandatory is their cell phone number and then essentially who they would want to text, the service department, the sales department, the, finance department. But you'll notice here, you can get it set up to where they don't have to put, they don't have to put in a name and number. You'll notice there's no asterisk there. They could just put in their cell phone and what sales department they want to text. So I'm just going to do this for example purposes, and we'll put that through. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that a little bit later. So you can have a widget. The other way of doing things is if you're communicating in an email with a customer, you can, in your signature file, let me go back here, in your signature file, you could have a number that says, hey, text me. And if they text you first, right, meaning they text that number, they're the ones that start the conversation, then at that point they basically authorize that it's okay to text them. Now there's disclosure that you do want to text them back as a first reply, which typically is, messaging rates and data may apply. Text stop to stop, which is basically letting the customer know, even though we're having a one-on-one conversation, if at any time during our text conversation, if you want me to stop or, text stop. And obviously when they text stop, it means it means what it means. It means, you no longer have texting permission. But in utilizing text, I could say when I was selling cars, it always was, I would have customers even sometimes, and I think you and I had talked about this, Eliana, I would call to leave them a voicemail. So let's say they gave me I got an internet lead for, a new Honda Civic. And I would go to call them, right? And then I'd get their voicemail, and the voicemail would actually sound like this. It would say, hi, it's Sally. You've reached my voicemail. I never check my voicemail, so just send me a text, and I'll reply to that instead. Have a great day, right? And that would be their voicemail. And so, I realized that there's some people in today's world that actually have never listened to their voicemail, because you got to hit the voicemail icon.
I don't know how those people survive. I don't get it.
I don't, I know for me, I remember back in the day when you did have to call in, like you had to call your number and press your password, and then, press 1 to listen to your voicemails. But now it's like the tab, at least for my phone, it's the tab on my main screen on my iPhone, and then it's like I could just play through them, and it plays instantly. I don't have to log in anymore. But you do need to get authorization. That's a key factor, and I know a lot of dealerships struggle with that. But going into,
is that not for me?
I meant to put this on here. Yeah, but going with some texting stuff as well. You know, you want to avoid salespeople texting from their individual cell phones. That can cause a pretty big liability from the dealership because you know, there might not be the management's not going to be able to see any type of tracking of that conversation because it's on that individual's personal cell phone, and also, you know, it's hard to kind of get that first message out where it says, you know, text message and data messages, you know, may apply. Text
right.
Stop or stop. It's from your personal cell phone. So, but I think we have another poll question. Do you have that on your end?
Yes, we do. All right, audience, your last poll question is on the screen now. It's a pretty important one, so we would love it if you would get involved and answer this question for us. The question is, how is your dealership using text right now? Please select one of the following answers. We blast our customers our specials. We use it on a one-on-one basis. Sales reps do it from their own phones. Your dealership uses text right now straight from their CRM. You only use text to confirm appointments, and only sometimes. You're not really stringent about that. Or we don't use texting in our sales process. And Elise, I guess that's why they're here today. Oh, and I have some people who are writing in their answers. While I love it that you write in your answers, I was wondering if there's any way you could actually click on those radio buttons. No, you can't submit 2 answers. I guess I should have done that. A lot of people are saying that they would have done 2 and 3. On a one-on-one basis, sales reps do it from their own phones, and they use it from their CRM. Okay, more than one person said that. And
coming from when we had a CRM when I was selling cars, our CRM did have a text messaging feature, but the most frustrating thing was if a customer, let's say I was communicating with the customer maybe a little bit farther away, and maybe even spoke to the customer on the phone at this point, but as anybody listening that actually is on the front line or that sells cars knows that it's a little bit more difficult to get an appointment if, let's say, the customer is 3 or 4 hours away. And so they might say something like, hey, can you send me a quick, you know, you might be chatting with them on your CRM text messaging service, and they say, can you send me a picture of, you know, the front tire or the back bumper? And you're like, oh, you know, and I know with the CRM that I had, it didn't have a feature where you could snap a photo or send a photo with the text message. It was only SMS only. It wasn't any type of multimedia that you could send. So it was always, at that point, then I'd have to be like, let me text you from, I would say, you know, this cell phone doesn't send any pictures. I'll text you from my personal cell. And then I would have to get my personal cell involved because it was the only way that I could send pictures. It was kind of a, you know, wasn't the best way of doing things. It was kind of a pain in the butt at that point. But I got you. If people take those 2 options, that probably, I would assume, would be
yeah, I got a lot of people who wrote in basically like Richard did. We do it from our CRM, and each BDC rep, including myself, always does it from our personal cell phones. So then they're what? They're recorded in the CRM as well? I'm sure somebody will write on in. And Richard says, we send over 9,000 texts a month from the CRM, but the 1,000 or so we send from our personal phones have the greatest impact. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, and a lot of people said they just started using that feature.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Let me close. Yeah, let me close this poll because I still have it running. All right, and let's see. Keeping in mind that, of course, some people wanted to pick both the second answer and the third answer. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so no one said that we blast our customers our specials. 41% of today's audience said that they use it on a one-on-one basis. Sales reps do it from their own phones. And 34% of today's audience said that they do it from their CRM. Only 4% of today's audience said that they use it only to confirm appointments and only sometimes. And 21% said, we don't use texting in our sales process. That's 21%, a solid fifth of people today. So,
okay.
Does that help
you
out?
I think a lot of, yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, for the 21% that's not utilizing text, I think, you know, if you're on this webinar, you know the benefits there. I think so many dealers, though, are a little bit afraid of it because of that authorization part. And that honestly is the hardest step, is you know, putting a widget on your website or finding a way to get the customer to opt into texting. But once you have that authorization, it's a huge tool that you can use to, you know, in your process to get the customer on the phone, build that relationship, and then ultimately set an appointment. So this is a lot of times what we see. We see a salesperson who uses text, and I go to dealerships pretty often now, and even with all the regulations and everything, I still see a lot of this going on, which is a salesperson texting customers through their personal cell phone. And you know, there's a couple downsides to that. The one is, like I said, management doesn't really have any type of viewing capability to see what that text conversation going on. So what I mean by that is, you know, maybe let's say a salesperson maybe misunderstood, or let's say a customer was interested on a car, and then the salesperson was utilizing text, and they said, yeah, you know, we can sell that car for you, or maybe they said, you know, if you come in, my manager's willing to work with you, and we can, you know, do our best to sell that car for $19,000. And let's say that customer maybe popped in on a day that the salesperson wasn't there. Then, you know, the customer would come in and say, you know, hi, is Billy here? Oh, you know, Billy's actually out of the office today. How can we help you? Well, I'm here to see the, you know, Honda Accord. He said that he would sell it to me for $19,000. You know, so there's that miscommunication. Even though Billy never said I could sell it for $19,000, it's you know, a customer coming in and either misunderstanding the text or communicating it wrong. Versus if you have a tool such as a CRM or some type of texting tool where you can keep track of all the conversations that are going on, that's kind of that's management's way of knowing really what's, you know, what's happening with that particular customer. So when I was selling cars, I remember having a texting feature, like I said, within my CRM, and I realized that even everything that I was doing with video, I realized some of my emails with video were going to go through spam. Some of them were never going to be opened. And in my mind, I remember thinking at the time, gosh, I wish there was a way that I could send something to a customer that, you know, that they felt was so customized to them. And I'm going to show you a tool that is now that you can do, and you can do this, you know, with texting. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. So we talked about last time in the last webinar, and I'm sure Eliana will be able to provide a link to that if you missed it. But we talked a lot about video and how video kind of has that wow factor to customers, and that's one of the reasons that made me so successful when I was selling cars. And I even still use video with my dealer clients that I communicate with now working for Phone Ninjas. But a lot of times, you know, the biggest thing with video was, well, you know, I have a BDC rep that handles 400 leads or 500 leads. There's no way in heck that they're going to be able to make a video message for Billy and a video message for Bob and Sally, and, you know, they're not going to be able to make a video each time. And so we talked about templating out your videos to where they were so customized that the customer would, when they watched it, they would be able to think that it was made for them, because you can really get narrow as far as the pre-recorded messages that you make for customers, meaning you might not say, hey, Eliana, it's Elise here.
Yeah, so you're saying everything except for the person's name? Is that what you're doing?
Right. So you could say, yeah, so let's say I'm gonna break it down. So if you do BDC sales or internet sales, you can make a video, right, and let's say you call a customer on the phone and you leave a voicemail in the morning. You could have a video that's customized and says, hey, good morning, my name's Elise from DealerOn Acura. I just left you a voicemail in regards to the new Acura RDX. Call me when you have a moment. I look forward to helping you. And I'll be sure to follow up with you later today if I don't hear back. I'm going to be in the office till about 8 o'clock tonight. So you literally can template your videos to the time of day that you're trying to reach the customer, each new car model, right? So when the customer watches it, they're they're thinking, wow, I'm watching this video. It is morning time right now. I did submit a lead on that new Acura RDX. And so you really can get customized with the type of videos that you would make. When I did this exact same process when I was selling cars, I had my videos templated not only around the time of day, but the type of car that they had submitted a lead on or that they were interested on, so like a new car, and even various types of lead sources. So if they submitted a lead through Costco, I'd say, hey, good morning, it's Elise at DealerOn Acura. Thank you for your online request through the Costco program for a new Honda Civic. And so that whole video I could send to anybody that submitted, if you think that you can send that to anybody that submitted a lead through Costco on a new Honda Civic, where you left a voicemail in the morning. So you can build out, and it's kind of this, oh, I got to do a little bit of work. Hey, you know what? Car business is work, man. Like any job is work. If you really want to succeed, you have to want to do things that others aren't willing to do. So there's no excuse. If you can handle 400, 500, 600 leads, you have to think of just the different buckets, the various buckets or the various pathways with the customer, and you can pre-build all of your videos. Here's some examples. Good morning, I just left you a voicemail. Multiply that by each new car model. Good afternoon, I just left you a voicemail. Multiply that by each new car model. Good evening, I just left you a voicemail. You could have an appointment reminder. So a video of you that says, hey, it's Elise over here at DealerOn Acura. We just got off the phone. Thank you so much again for speaking with me. Your appointment time is listed below in this text message. If you're going to be running early or late, let me know, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay? So no customer's name, but an appointment confirmation. If you sell cars, you could have a thank you for your purchase video, and then even service, could have a video of them showing the service writer. Then this is something that you can send via text that says, hey, it's John over here at DealerOn Acura. I just wanted to let you know that your vehicle's ready for pickup. I started to think about this when I remember I had a prescription that I had to pick up at CVS at the pharmacy, and when I was filling out my forms, it said, is it okay to text you when your prescription is ready?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, I love it. It was like
I love it too.
Because then it's like no longer like, oh, I gotta walk around like the 20 different aisles at CVS and wait for my prescription and wait for them to page me. Like I could go do other stuff. I can walk out of CVS, go to the bank, do my other errands, and then boom, I get a text message, your prescription is ready to pick up. I can go back and pick it up. I don't have to really hang out or wait for a phone call. I prefer that method.
Technology is great when it's used. When I'm at my kid's doctor, if he needs a prescription, they send the prescription right from the doctor's office. And by the time I drive home, I get the text message from CVS that the prescription's ready to be picked up. You can't get any better than that.
It's such a good tool, and it's used in other. If you really think about it, it's used in other industries. I went to the AT&T store to. I needed a new screen. My screen cover broke. It was like a special plastic screen. So I went to the AT&T store on like a Saturday with my husband and our daughter, and we have a baby, and they're like, oh, we're really busy today. I'm sorry, it's probably going to be about an hour and a half wait. And we're like, oh. And he's like, but if you text, like, is it okay to just send you a text message when you're second or third in line? And I was like, oh, that'd be great, So we didn't have to hang out there with our 2.5-year-old daughter to, wait for someone to help us. We went to Target. We went and got some coffee, and then sure enough, an hour and a half later, we got a text that says you're second in line. We're like, okay, let's go. Let's go back to the AT&T store. So it's super, super convenient. Things that weren't available, at one point are now available to do, and it's, like I said, it's used in other industries. So I'm going to go live, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to show you how I would utilize these video responses within text. So let me exit out of my PowerPoint here.
Cool.
So we talked about this widget, right? Getting a customer to opt in. Now I am in. This is I'm not a big fan. I know when I was selling cars, I would be like, oh, this person's trying to pitch me. So as a lot of you guys know, I'm with Phone Ninjas, and Text Ninjas is something that Gary just launched, and I'm really passionate about Text Ninjas because it's something. Ironically, that when I was selling cars, I wish there was a tool like this that I had when I was selling cars. So what we did is we went to our website, to the website here, we've submitted a text message, right? So that text message then, let's pretend that this is like a dealership platform of some type where you can receive text. Now the management as well as the salesperson, right, has a conversation, or is able to pull up the conversation or the lead essentially of a customer texting them. And the salesperson or BDC rep would claim that lead, and they can say, hi, Ellie, is it 2 N's?
No, it's 1 N, but yeah, you can spell it that way. I don't care.
Okay. Thanks for your text, or you could say, hey, thanks for your, your interest in the Honda Civic, whatever car it is, right? And I know for me, I'm always about time efficiency. So if you didn't want to type out, thanks for your request for the Honda Civic, you can have templates where you don't have to text this out every time. But let's say we sent that out, and then you can do what's called a mobile link. And I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like. But you basically, I'm going to go ahead and send, I built one here, DealerOn sample. So you can say, hope you find this helpful. And you can have these pre-made video mobile links that you can send to a customer. And it goes back to that wow factor, right? Because a customer's going to receive, or I'm going to turn on my webcam here if I can do that in just a moment. But a customer's going to receive this text message, right, where now it's a link. And it's not just a link that outsources to a YouTube video. It's not just a link that this is what essentially it's going to look like. So it would look something like this. And this is what I'm viewing a mobile. I'm going to show you what it looks like on a mobile phone. I only have a desktop available to show you, but essentially this is what would pop up on that customer's text message, that customer's phone when they clicked on it. And you can have it, this literally took, I think I did it, I pre-made it and it's already done. But you would have your salesperson's picture, their name, the dealership name. You could have your video that you've made, right? So either maybe an introductory video, or hey, I just left you a voice message, or thank you for speaking with me, or thank you for your appointment, or thank you for your purchase. And then here's what makes it cool. So when a customer clicks on that text message, it's going to pop up a video that'll play, and then all these little widgets, right? You can customize these to whatever you want. And this is what I love, is because you're kind of, when you give a customer a mobile link, right? First of all, it's customized to them, and then it's kind of guiding the pathway of where you want, what you want the customer to do. They can either, if they hit this button from their cell phone, it would call the salesperson. They can look at, photos and specifications of the Civic. If you do walk-around videos on your new vehicles, right? You could have like a walk-around video, and you'll notice that this doesn't, this keeps them, where you want to keep them. It still has the, it embeds the video within the page that they're looking at. You can see, testimonials, what other people say, what other people say about me, and where did it go here? Hang on, I lost it. And so you can really guide the customer to show, like in these mobile links are really easy to do. But you basically
how many of those special links can you put on there? I see you have 4.
No, you could. Here, I'll show you real quick. So if you, this is an example, and I don't want to get too much into the tutorials, but let's say you built, so this is our DealerOn. This is our sample that we just showed you.
Yes, from DealerOn Acura, which, by the way, I love. Everyone, buy a car from DealerOn Acura.
So right now we have, the call Elise Kephart, the photos and specs, view my walk around, what others say. There's no limit. I mean, you can build another one right now and just say, you can either link it to a phone number that would call them directly when they hit it from their cell phone. You can put another link here, and the menu label is whatever you want to type. So if you just did how to pair your Bluetooth, and you have this, you would paste essentially either another link or a video or another page where it's how to pair your Bluetooth.
So
I don't have a link available right now.
That you could make all of those different kinds is one thing. How many? What's the optimal number you should send? I mean, God forbid you send like 20 of them in one text. You don't want to do
Right.
that.
I would probably keep it at like this one has 4 right now. I would keep it probably at 4 to 5. You know, you don't want it to get too long. Here's another example. So again, you could have this, you know, to where it's customized to, hey, thank you for, again, using those videos that I talked about. Hey, good morning. You know, I just tried to reach you on the phone. I saw that you had opted in to text us. I have really great news for you in regards to that new Honda Civic. Okay, so you want to get those videos as customized as possible so that when they watch it, when the customer watches it, it's given out. They think that it was made for them, right? And then all these things, this is all going to be positive stuff about you, your product, and your dealership. All these little these buttons right here.
So you're still cutting the video. Is that the same video you would send by email?
Yes, it would be the same video by email.
Gotcha.
Right, but it's the same video by email. Now, if I had delivered a car, so let's say I sold the customer a car, you know, given them the whole Elise Kephart experience all the way through, and I was okay to text them, I would send them a text with a video that said, hey, Eliana, I would make that one customized probably, but it would say, hey, Eliana, I just wanted to thank you so much for doing business with me on the new Acura MDX. I know there's a lot of technology available that we went over, but hey, in case you forgot anything, I want to provide you with this mobile, mobile page, and you can see below that A, you can give me a call, of course, 24/7 if you need questions, but B, there's a few links there as a refresh on how to pair your cell phone, how to properly, use your navigation, and a quick overview again of using your smart key devices. And then these buttons right here, right, this would pop up on their mobile device, would be how to pair your navigation, how to use how to pair your Bluetooth, how to use your navigation, how to pair up your smart key. So it's almost like a customized customized owner's manual, right? But it's coming from you, so you can send to the customer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that you can do here, and it's all just part of that wow factor. I know for me, if I ever got something customized like this, of course, an email would be great, but if for whatever reason I didn't get it in my email and I got it on a text message, that would be a wow factor to me, and I'm going to give that person first shot at my business, because right off the bat, I can see who that person is. I can read about them. I can know a little bit about my product, but I'm thinking in my head like, wow, this person that's trying to do business with me is going above and beyond. They're doing something that nobody else really is doing. And I would be more optimal to hit this little call button and call that individual and say, hey, I got your text message. That was great. I just had a couple questions on the Honda Civic if you could help me out. But now, boom, now you have a live conversation, right? That's where those phone skills come into place. Now you have a live conversation with that customer. If you're using service, so you guys all know my husband is he manages an independent Honda Acura shop. So here's an example of what you can do with service. Have your service writer's picture there with their name and the dealership's logo. And when a car is, if you can get off and with written, here's the thing that service writers can do really easily when it comes to text messaging. You don't have to have them necessarily opt in on the website or send an email. When they're checking out that customer, just like when I checked out for my prescription, they could say, hey, is it okay to send you a text message when your car's ready for pickup? Oh, yeah, that would be great. All right, perfect. This is the estimate on what we're going to be doing today, and if you could just sign this quick authorization form that it's okay to text you, and get that authorization as you're checking out the customer for service.
And they get a written authorization.
You need to get written authorization. Yes, you do want to get written authorization.
Huh.
Whether you have some type of electronic program that can do that, but you do want to get a signature for written consent. Absolutely. Now, here's something so as a service writer, what you'd be able to do is, let's say you got authorization to text the customer. You can go to send text. So this is my phone number right here. I'm going to show you what this looks like. And you can say, hey, Eliana.
Hi.
What kind of car do you drive?
I don't know. What kind of car do I have right now? I have a convertible Mustang.
Okay, cool. Your Mustang is ready for pickup. and then you can go, and then you can send them that mobile link, which I don't have. You can go here. You can select the mobile link and say, you know, I hope you find this helpful. See you soon. And then, oops. Now, what's kind of cool about this too is if you want to just make a video directly from your smartphone or directly from your webcam, you can do that with attached video right here as well. So you can actually record it on the spot from your webcam or from your cell phone as well if you didn't have a pre-made video. But then when the customer gets this text, right, they click on it and it's going to pop up something like this on their mobile device where it says this video. I don't know if the audio is going to go through, but I'll put my husband on the spotlight here and play it back. Can you hear that?
A little bit.
A little?
Yeah.
Ready to go. Have any questions, feel free to respond to the text message, or you can also give us a call by clicking the link below. We're here until 6 tonight, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Aw, that's sweet.
That's Justin Timberlake background.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So with that, right, the customer then they can respond to that text message, or they can just give the dealership a call. They can read about great reviews. You know, leave the person an individual review. So here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to pop up my webcam so you guys all can see what you put in webcam.
Hi, Elise. We see you.
You can see me? All right. This is that. Let me pop. Give me a second here.
I know. She's cute, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my baby girl. That was a while ago, though.
It doesn't matter. Cute is cute.
Yeah, so she's a lot. Oh, look, you can almost see us side by side, like mother daughter. All right, so here we go. So here's basically what you know. Here would be the text messages, right, that would come through, and
yeah, I want to tell the live audience, you're the only ones who can see what Elise is showing because she has her webcam on. So if you're watching this recorded, you're not seeing this. You're just seeing a really cute picture of a really cute baby.
Oh, right. So this would be a text message that would come from your service writer, and you can see here if you're on the live version, you know, hey Eliana, you know, your Mustang's ready for pickup. Hope you find this helpful.
Yeah.
So then you click on that. This would be from, you know, the service writer would have the service writer screen, the video. If they hit give us a call.
Are you going to call him?
It would call the dealership just like that, so that would pop up. And then if it was, so that's service-based. If it was, you know, if it was an internet lead that you could text or a customer that you had authorization to text on the sales side of things, they would click that link, right, and then it would pop up something like this. So it's.
And then it has the 4 links at the bottom?
Yep.
Oh, there they are.
And
yeah.
Then you have the four links at the bottom, or whatever you created. And what's cool about this is you know, if you're working at a dealership, you can set all of this up. You can set whatever blue buttons you want, you know, customers to be able to click on. So this is just an individual example that I put together with DealerOn Acura. I don't think there's really a DealerOn Acura out there.
No, there isn't. Not yet. But that's a text message? Because that looks like a crazy, I can't believe that's a text message.
It comes, well, it comes when it comes through as something like this. So it would say, you know, hey, Eliana, thanks for your interest in the Honda Civic. You know, hope you find this helpful.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, and then they click on that. But what's nice about that click-through is it's not just a YouTube video that's popping up right away. It's not just a, you know, a link to a car. It's like a customized page, right, that they can view and, you know, call their salesperson and any, like that. You can set any of these blue buttons up. So this is something that I use with. I didn't have it available when I was selling cars on the hide my webcam for now. Capture my webcam. You know my hair story this morning, so
Yes, I do. You're doing good. Don't worry.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't have this tool available when I was selling cars, but I will tell you I use it now when I'm communicating with dealerships, from Phone Ninjas, and it's an amazing tool. And usually if I show it to a sales manager, or when I'm doing a demo, I'll say, hey, I'm going to show you this cool feature. What's the best number to text you at? I get that authorization to text them. Hey, now I have that dealer's cell phone number. I never, of course, take advantage of it, but then I can actually show them, the things you can do with texting now. It's just one more thing that's going to give you that, that thump up on what everybody else is doing.
No,
So,
that's definitely a wow factor you got there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let me close. So, kind of some takeaways with text. Clients are going to be more responsive to text, and there's not that expectation, like I said, with chat where you have to respond right away. And the text mobile pages, like I said, that I gave you some examples of, those are going to allow you to brand yourself and your dealership, and it's going to have a much higher open rate than you would from an email. And it's just a really easy way when you use text like this, an easy way to impress your audience. Because that was always my, quote unquote secret, or that's what I always wanted to do whenever I was trying to make a sale or get an appointment or anything that I want. If I was trying to impress John, right, when we were dating, it's like you always want to have that impress factor. You want to put out your best foot and give a really good impression, and that's what texting you can use for, if you kind of take it to the next step and you're able to customize it a little bit and make it personal to the customer that you're communicating with. But ultimately, the name of the game is if you can, find ways to brand yourself, really stand out and impress your audience, that's going to trigger something in that client's mind to say, hey, let me see what this person is all about. It would be great to work with them, right? So you're selling yourself essentially. So do we have questions?
Oh my gosh, we have so many questions from the audience.
Right, let's get started.
Let's get started. Okay, audience, if you haven't written in your question yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Now would be the perfect time to send in your question. Let's get to those. We're going to go in order, of course. Before we do that, though, let's have a little bit of fun. Right, Elise?
Yeah.
All right, it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced our good friends at Phone Ninjas giving away a fantastic prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a box of Pecan Jacks. These delightful snacks have been dubbed the most delicious candy ever. Yeah. So one of you lucky attendees is going to be scoring this awesome prize today. All you have to do is answer a simple question about this presentation that you just saw. So I want you to get ready, get to your keyboards. First one to write in the correct response is going to be walking away with this totally cool prize. Good luck, everyone. And, of course, vendors, if you're out there, I know you are, you know we love you, but we're going to ask you to please sit this one out. This prize is intended for dealership personnel only. All right, everyone, here we go, and good luck. Here we go. According to a 2015 study conducted by MailChimp, what is the average open rate of an email? And we have a winner. Thank you for playing, everyone. Oh my gosh, there's so many people writing in. All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll up. I know I saw it. Yep, here we go. The correct answer was 22%, and the winner is James Klaus. James, congratulations.
All right.
You are our winner today. James, please do me a favor. Write on in real fast. Tell me what dealership you're from. And also don't forget to write in your mailing address, too, so we can give you a proper congratulations. And once you get these Pecan Jacks, I need you to let me and Elise know whether they are, in fact, what did it say? The most delicious candy ever. Because that's important information that anyone needs to have. Oh, okay, let's see. He says, bam, second DealerOn Webby win. Hey, congratulations, James. Okay, James is from Bozeman Ford Lincoln and RV Center. He's over in, what is that, Montana? MT is Montana, right? Congratulations, James. You're going to be getting that prize directly from our friends at Phone Ninjas. We do appreciate it. All right, Elise, if you're ready, let's move on and get to the Q&A session. If you want, you can, of course, turn on your webcam again.
All right.
And you should put it on the stand.
On what, I'm sorry? Yes, right here.
No, the one with your picture on it.
Oh, the one with my picture. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Hey, there you are. Okay, so your first question comes in from Ryan. And he asked this very, very early on when you were talking about authorization. So he says, if a lead comes in with a cell number and you text them individually, I was told you are legally allowed to text them as an individual as long as there is an opt-out option in the text that says, to no longer receive messages, type stop. Is this true?
You are, I've worked with, I've spoken to a lot of people in our industry, and Jerry was one of them. You're kind of, you are taking that risk if you don't have some type of actual authorization, whether from a website widget or an email texting option. So if they verbally gave you permission, chances are that they verbally gave you permission, and they're okay to text you, but you are kind of crossing that fine line. I mean, people get really too crazy these days of doing it without actual written or opt-in authorization. So I know a lot of dealerships do that, and they're okay with kind of taking that risk, but it is still a risk factor. I know for me, I mean, when I was selling cars, and a customer would say, like, yeah, if you can just text me, like they would maybe tell me something like that on the phone, and I built a good enough relationship with them to where I never. But I wasn't doing the legal thing about it. I would text them, and of course they never got upset at me because they told me on the phone that it's okay to text them. But that from a technicality standpoint, it's the wrong way to do things. There's a risk factor, like I said, of doing it that way if you don't have an actual opt-in. If that answers your question.
I gotcha. All right, Ryan, thank you so much for the great question. Now, Elise, this next question comes from Tyler, and I got to tell you, he sent in the question like 3 times. He really, really, really wants an answer. All right? So, first of all, he says, what? My phone is still old school. How do I get that new voicemail where you just push a button and you don't have to dial in your tag? Okay, but that's not the question. He wants to know, is it okay to text over CRM in Canada? Are there any tips for texting in Canada that differs from strategies for the U.S.?
So that's a great question, and I probably have to do a little bit more. I know Canada, from what I've heard, is a lot more strict with their texting regulations.
They're more strict?
So
Gosh, I would have thought it was the opposite. I don't know why.
From what I've heard, because I remember from what I've heard, you actually like. It's a much bigger risk factor if you're communicating with the customer and you don't have that actual opt-in. So I've heard that it's bigger risk factor in Canada. I don't know the exact rules, but ultimately, I mean, just if you can wrap it up, if you can sum it up in one thing, put a widget on your website, in your emails, put your cell phone number. Preferably one that isn't your personal cell phone number, but one that like a management can read, like a business type of cell phone or something to where the management can read all your text messages coming through, and let them opt into texting you. But even at that point, let's say they from an email, maybe they said, oh, okay, and they send a text. At that point, then you still need to have a reply, like an auto reply that says you've opted into text. DealerOn, Acura, text stop at any time to stop. And then from there, then you can have that one-on-one conversation. So it's, like I said, the hardest part for a lot of dealers is kind of getting over that first hurdle. But in the big picture of things, it's, you need to have that authorization. But once you get that and you kind of master that, then the like I said, the tools and the things that you can do with text messaging are just, it's mind-blowing. I mean, you can do so much to help set yourself apart.
I can tell you wish you were selling cars with this new text messaging.
Yeah,
it's a natural extension from the phone training and the videos. I mean, it would naturally go with all the texting and stuff. So, okay, great question. Thank you so much. Next question comes to you from Carolina. Hey, Carolina. Love that name. Okay, Carolina had a few questions, mainly about how you incorporate the video into the text message. So let's go to a couple of her questions. She says, what exactly does the video cover, and the video that is recorded from the CRM? And then she had a follow-up question. How does the customer think the video is for them if they asked about a specific vehicle color and the pre-made video walk-around isn't that color choice?
Okay, so when it comes to pre-made videos, okay, so going back to that, the process, and I'm not sure if you're on the last webinar, is text messaging. You're not wanting to necessarily, like I said, have it be that main form of communication. It's kind of there for like a first impression, you know, communication tool to get that customer on the phone. So if a customer, let's say, inquired, let's use an example, they inquired about a red Honda. They inquired about stock number ABC123, a red Honda Fit. If you're selling Hondas, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this device, like this is a, you know, a phone, and I'm going to try and call that customer. But the truth of the matter is, when you call that customer on the lead, you're going to get their voicemail, right? So you're going to leave a voicemail for them, and then if you're going to email them. It's not a video about the car, right? Because it's a video of me as a BDC rep, as a salesperson, where I'm going to say, you know, hey, Eliana, it's Elise, or you're not going to have the name, I'm sorry. You're going to say, hey, my name's Elise. I'm one of the, you know, customer service representatives here at DealerOn Acura. I saw you inquired about one of our new Honda Fit. I have some great news for you. Call me when you have a moment. My number is listed below. It's right about morning time here. I'm going to be here till about 7 o'clock tonight. I'll follow up with you later today if I don't hear back. So in that introductory video, I didn't say the customer's name. I didn't specify the color of the car, right? But in the actual text message, like in actual text, you can say, hey, thanks for inquiring about the red Honda Fit. I just tried to reach you, you know, paste the mobile link of that mobile page where you have your video. You know, call me when you have a minute. You know, I look forward to speaking with you soon. So basically that mobile page, those videos are guided to be pretty short, but ultimately just to get that customer on the phone. So if you have, and like I said, those blue buttons, those blue widgets at the bottom, you can put, I was just using an example, you can customize it to whatever you want. So if you didn't want to have a walk-around link in there, you don't have to. It's really just, I mean, you can, I mean, that was just an example. But a walk-around video, whenever I did a walk-around video on a car, it was more of just an informational piece and more of a wow factor. Like, look, I made you a video greeting. I'm giving you information about, like, just some reviews on myself, some reviews on accolades and awards on my product, and some basic information about, you know, the new body style Honda Fit or the new body style Honda Civic. It's when a customer is watching it, though, what I'm really trying to sell them on is this right here.
Oh,
which is
the Elise Kephart experience.
right. Which is, I'm not trying to, you know, because that's the only thing that stands out. Like, look, if you're selling a GM product, right? There's a lot of GM dealers, and like the chance of that customer that they've already done a lot of research on the GM product or whatever car they're interested in. But so the only way to really distinct yourself from a car product itself in this example is you, right? People buy from people, and so I'm taking that mentality of, look, they could buy a new car anywhere. They could buy a new GM product. They could buy a new Honda. They could buy a new Mercedes anywhere they wanted to. But I want them to focus on me as an individual. So
I got you. Okay, so Carolina wrote back in. First of all, she said, I was on the last webinar, smiley face. It was awesome. I agree.
Thank you.
And then she said, well, what is a good text if you don't have a pre-made link yet to awesome info like the ones you showed us? What would be a good, and of course you want to keep it short, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I mean, a good text message, if you don't have that customized mobile link, you know, and I mean that's kind of the wow factor of it. But if you don't, then you know, just a short text. This is like, then the text itself, you could say to customers, then, hey, Eliana, I just tried to reach you on the phone. You know, this is Elise over at DealerOn Acura. Call me when you have a minute. Or, you know, Eliana, this is Elise at DealerOn Acura. Just tried to reach you. Are you available right now or later to speak? I'm trying to just get that customer, you know, on the phone. But the truth of the matter is, like I said, when I was selling cars, I would send that text message, just plain text to a customer all the time if I had authorization, but I didn't have that mobile link that I can send them. And that, to me, when I found out that you can do that now, I was like, well, that's kind of, that's the wow factor. Because they might be in a meeting and they're going to get that text, and then they click that mobile link, and they're like, wow, you know, that's kind of that's what I want the customer to be impressed with is you know, is me as an individual person at the dealership, my product that I'm selling, and the dealership that I work at.
Gotcha. Okay, so we still have a ton of questions. So Carolina, thank you so much for those. Let's get to this next one. Oh, she says thanks. Next one comes in from Russell. He says, which vendors offer a texting widget, and what did Sunset Hyundai use?
So you know, there's a lot of different vendors out there. Obviously, I'm gonna partner with the one that we use. It's Text Ninjas, which is kind of it's owned by various the same company. I mean, it kind of goes side and side with Phone Ninjas. So Text Ninjas, you know, we can get you set up on the widgets, and you know, I just have to talk to. I mean, DealerOn. I mean, I don't know if specific website companies, you know, offer any type of text widget, but I know that Text Ninjas can get you set up on the back end tool of texting and the widget and everything like that. I don't want to get too pitchy, but you know, talk to your website provider, or you know, Text Ninjas / Phone Ninjas to get it set up for you.
Thank you. All right, great answer. Okay, Bruce wrote in, we have a texting company telling us that we can legally text any customer that provides us with their phone number. They could use our store's landline to send and receive text, and not our employees' cell numbers or cell phones. Is that compliant? Does that sound right to you, Elise?
So you're saying that you've been told you can text anybody when they give you a cell phone number?
Yeah, I guess if they send in a lead with a cell phone number, that means you can contact them any way possible using that cell phone number, whether you call them or text them, I suppose.
I have not heard that. So I would, if I had to, based off of that description, I wouldn't take that risk. All the studies that I've done, and Jerry, who is, you know, the owner of Phone Ninjas and Text Ninjas, has done some legal research into it as well. And we've had a few discussions on that, which is, you know, you do need to get some type of authorization. So if your dealership does that, it's, you know, it's just, I would say it's a risk factor that you're willing to take if you know.
I hear you. And you know what, Bruce isn't the only one. Angela wrote in, she said, I also heard that as long as you individually type in the person's phone number. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so James, our winner today, he says, can you ask Elise if she knows what CRMs can send video and pics through their texting tool? Mine doesn't do that.
That, as far as I know, I don't know of any CRM that allows picture and video within text, except for Text Ninjas. We're not a CRM company, but we, you know, that's kind of why we created it. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, because when I worked at a dealership, our CRM had a plain text feature, but you couldn't do video with it, and you couldn't do mobile pages, and you couldn't send pictures. So that was kind of a frustration for me. As far as I know, I don't know of a CRM company that has a full texting capability with mobile page links and videos and photo availability.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So James, just so you know, we had Carolina. She wrote in Drive Velocity does, and Ray wrote in CRM Suite does. But I agree with Elise. I think it's very few and far between. Not many CRMs can offer that kind of functionality. So I hope that helps you out, James. Kate. Oh, it's a good question. Kate and Heather wrote in the same question. How long should we keep these videos? 30 seconds, 45 seconds? How long do you recommend a video message should be? That's from Kate and Heather.
Under a minute. You know, when I was doing them, they would run probably maybe anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds, and I even had like a couple testimonial clips at the end, but you want to stay definitely under a minute. You want it to be short, something they can just watch really, really quickly. So, and if you want some video examples that I did, I don't know if a lot of you follow me on social media, but they've all kind of been taken down off the internet. So I'm in the process of trying to dig through years worth of files and see what examples I have. But I'm sure a lot of you have seen them. But I would keep it definitely under a minute. And if you want some examples of video messages that I did, shoot me an email. And I'm in the process of trying to dig up some old examples from my backup hard drive.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so thank you for those questions, Heather and Kate. Heather already wrote in. Examples would be amazing. Thank you. So did Kate. Okay, same question came in from a bunch of different people. You ready for this one, Elise?
I'm ready.
All right, so for instance, Dave wrote in, will the Text Ninja platform integrate with Vin Solutions? Emily wrote in, does Text Ninjas integrate with Vin Solutions so the manager can see the text sent by the salesperson? And James says, does Text Ninjas integrate with only certain CRMs or all CRMs?
So I will double check on the actual push of the conversation. It will push the original lead over. So let's say you had a widget on your website and a customer put in their information to text them. That would get pushed into Text Ninjas as well as the actual, I believe it's called an AFI or ADF address. That would get pushed to your, like the lead itself would get pushed to your CRM. I will double check about the push of the actual text conversation. If you email me right after this, it's elise@phoneninjas.com. I'll find that out by today for sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, David, Emily, James, and anyone else who wanted to know about CRM integration. Okay. Angela writes in, how does a customer opt into this texting tool from a phone up? How would you, if somebody calls in?
Sure. From a phone up. So, when we run into that a lot when we're listening to phone calls, in the old days, you could say, let's say after you set an appointment, you can say, do you have a, pardon me, my voice, do you have a pencil handy? I have something important for you to write down, and then K-E-T-H-A-R-T, that's the last name. Well, now what we find is, do you have a pencil handy? And they're like, no, I'm actually driving, so I can't really write anything right now. And a lot of times when you get that contact information at the beginning of a phone-up call, it's typically a cell phone to say, are you calling from your home or cell? My cell, and that number is. And so you could say, well, is it okay to receive text messages on that number? I'm going to send you some important information. And they might go, oh, yeah, that would be great. Or I'm going to send you a reminder for our appointment. Oh, yeah, that would be great. There still needs to be some type of, even though that's a verbal, right, a verbal authorization, if you text the customer at that point, like I said, there is a little bit of a risk factor. I mean, I hate to say that I'm guilty of it. Like if a customer, like I said, verbally told me when I was selling cars it was okay to text them, I would do so. But there is a risk factor because you don't have that authorization. So to answer the question on how to get that authorization, if they've verbally told you so, then what I would do is I would say, all right, perfect. Well, there's just some I'm happy to text you, whatever information you're going to text them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just send you a quick link to your email. You can just click on that link, which basically just saying that it is okay to text you. You could always hit stop at any time. And I can promise you, Mr. Customer, it's never going to be something where we're just going to blast up your phone with, our $19.99 oil change special. So I'm going to go ahead and send that. Should I send that to your work or personal email address? Perfect. And then get that, and then just send them something to their email where they can opt in at that point. That would be my best recommendation, to go from a legality standpoint and not have any risk factors.
Right, right.
And it's unfortunate because it's like, I'm sure the regulations with texting wouldn't be so tight if the fact that people have taken advantage of it. As far as, well, now you can text the customer. So there are there have been companies and some dealerships and other companies that, hey, now that I can the reason why these laws are put into place is because it's basically like texting spam. Companies were taking advantage of it. So it kind of
Ruined it for the rest of us.
Right, right. Yeah.
All right. Let's try and button this up, but we have a ton of questions still, so I'm trying to get to as many of them as possible. So let's try and get through these quickly, okay, Elise?
Okay. All right.
All right. So thank you for the great question, Angela. Okay, next question comes to you from Steve. Actually, he has a couple questions. He says, is there an app for this, or is it only available on desktop? And does the link the customer sees say Text Ninjas Anywhere, or does it show the dealership's web address?
Right now, it's a short link that says Text Ninjas, and as far as mobile capability, we don't have an app, but you can access your text messages from your mobile device. So you would just open up your Safari browser, Chrome browser with your login credentials, and you would see a similar, so you could text message from your phone. We don't have it as an app yet, but it is available to do from your phone.
Ah, okay, great. Thank you so much for the great questions. Okay, Diane, your question's next. I know you've been very patient. She says, how do we text something on a simple level if we don't have Text Ninjas? And then she says, my CRM requires opt-in to use it at all. Written authorization would only allow me to do it from my cell. So she's got problems all around over here.
Okay, so interesting. I'm not sure on how to I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, I'm not sure what CRM company you have, but with outside of Text Ninjas, if when I had a CRM, when I was selling cars and we had a CRM company that we can text through, they wouldn't have to, if we didn't have like an actual opt-in, there was still an option for us to be able to check, yes, it's okay to text the customer. We would check that box, and then it would send that customer a first initial automated, text message that would say you've been opted in to text ABC Motors, text stop to stop. That would be the first text message that would go out. But there was an option out through our CRM program that allowed us to kind of override that if they didn't opt in first. To be able to send an outbound text if we had some other type of written consent to text that customer.
Gotcha.
I'm not really sure. Yeah.
She wrote back in, and she says, a customer who verbally tells me on the phone that I can text them, I still can't do it from my CRM unless they directly reply to the authorization request. So then she had a follow-up question, and she says, what is a good voicemail to get them to sign that authorization request for texting?
I mean, ultimately, here's the thing. Like, we're getting into, text obviously is important, but again, I'm not using it as my main communication tool. That's why I asked originally, like, how many of you guys text message, and I think something like a good majority you said I use it like 50% of the time, but a lot of you guys don't prefer it over voice, and I don't think any of us really do when it comes, especially if it comes to buying a car. I mean, I would never want to buy a car over text message solely. I would want to know who I'm dealing with. I would want to hear that person on the phone, be able to. But it's more of just that middle ground, like online dating, where it's just kind of a segue to talk to a customer on the phone. But as far as leaving a voicemail for a customer to be able to text them, I wouldn't go. I guess I wouldn't aim my voicemail around that. I would aim my voicemail around getting that customer on the phone, not trying to get them to text me. I mean, all said and done, if I couldn't get that customer to text me or I didn't have authorization to text them, well, I still have this device right here, which is the telephone, and leaving voicemails with the expectation of, hey, it's about 10:30 right now. I'm in, California time. I'm going to be in the office till 7 o'clock tonight. I'm going to follow up with you a little bit later if I don't hear back. Because the phone, you don't need authorization. If they've given you your phone number, you can use this to, continue to reach out to them. And if you're on my last webinar, I know the biggest fear factor was, but, I don't want them to get upset at me. And, you can't have that fear level. I mean, I know for a lot of people, it's a fear factor where I'm only going to try and like ease my way and maybe call them once a day, or, maybe every 3 days. It just doesn't work in today's in the way that it works. I know for me, if you've ever tried to reach me, if you're listening on this, like, it's sometimes really hard to get a hold of me. If you want to see my voicemail box right now, I have quite a few voicemails that I haven't listened to. My inbox is is full. I have notifications on my Facebook and Twitter blown up. Like there's so many different ways to communicate with me, and so it's like it is hard to get a hold of me. So the best way to get a hold of me, if any of you guys want to get a hold of me, yeah, you can send me an email or a text message. But the best way, honestly, to get a hold of me is to call me multiple times a day until I pick up. Like,
I got you.
That's the best way to get a hold of me.
All right. I'm hearing from a bunch of people like Angela. She's having trouble with her CRM. She says the VIN Solutions has changed the opt-in. The customer has to text a particular phone number that will then make the texting tool available within VIN. It's very difficult to make it work. So getting the authorization, I think, is where a lot of people are finding the difficulty with texting. I think this tool that you showed us today, Elise, makes, if you can get that authorization, boy, oh boy, that just opened up a whole new world for people like my mom, who only loves texting.
Right. Right. Put it on make it a big feature on your website, right? Make it a nice widget that really pops out. Make it a banner that pops out. Make it you put it on your, and this is assuming that your websites are mobile friendly, which with DealerOn on the hosting the webinar, I hope everybody listening has a mobile friendly website. But make it a big deal, to where they can on every vehicle landing page, put a text us about this car, text us about the car, so that people are guided instead of just filling out a form, right? They're guided to text about the text message.
Well, since you brought up the widget, let's get to this question from Arthur. Arthur says, how do I create a widget for our site to secure their consent? Can I do that through Text Ninjas, or does our webmaster have to figure that out? How do I make that widget? It is super important.
Yes. So the widget that we have through Text Ninjas is a widget that goes into the the back end that works kind of side and side with our text message or with our Text Ninjas
platform
backend tool.
Mm-hmm.
As far as if you weren't using Text Ninjas and you were doing it through your CRM or anything else, you probably would need to get a hold of your website company and your CRM company and see if there's a way that could be provided. I think there's even some third-party vendors like on, I want to say Edmunds that has some type of widget available. But then you're from what I've heard, like a dealership that I was at, they're like, oh, well, we use this website provider. It's not DealerOn. But we use this website provider, and they don't, they won't let us add anything like that. So that's kind of a gray area too. You need to have a good website provider that will allow you to do that. But typically, it's not a problem.
Gotcha. Okay, Anthony. Hey, Anthony. Nice to see you on here. He says, since you have to operate in another system, does any of those correspondences actually go into the customer's history record in the CRM?
I will double check on that. I think that was a question earlier. I'm going to see if there's a way that the conversation could be pushed, like as a note format or some type of format to that customer file. I will know that by today.
Oh, okay. Anthony, don't forget, get in touch with Elise at elise@phoneninjas.com. Okay, last 5 questions right here. Leon says, how do you create a contact from the contact list?
Are you talking about how do I create a contact? So are you talking about on Text Ninjas specifically?
Leon, I know you're still, he says correct.
Okay, so you would go to, if someone submits clicks the widget on your website, that would come in as a lead, and then all your leads are kind of saved in this conversation format. And if there was a number such as this number right here that came in and you didn't have that customer's information first, you just hit edit and you would type in the customer's name, and then it would save it when you're reviewing it as who it is. Because keep in mind, depending on how you have your widget set up, they might not have you can make it to where if you don't want that customer to have to put in their first and last name to submit a text, then they don't have to. So a lot of times the text message might come in and you don't know who you're talking to because they haven't given you their name at that point. But for me, for some customers, they might prefer it that way until there's a little bit of trust there. You know, they might not want to give their name. So hopefully that answers your question.
Leon, thank you for that question. Okay, let's get to a couple more of these. Okay, so Arthur wrote back in. He says he wants to know, is Text Ninja a free tool? I don't know. It does a lot. It shouldn't be free. If it's free, it shouldn't be.
So Text Ninjas, it is, there's kind of everything's a la carte. Is that how you say it? So everything you can get kind of on the side. We can probably get you set up on I know for April, which April technically just ended, when we launched this, we gave everybody a free month. But otherwise, it's only $49.99 a month for, I guess, 1,000 text messages. And then depending on how many phone lines, text messaging phone lines you want, if it's a local mobile phone line, it's $2 per line. So if you had like a BDC department, you know, and I would only recommend obviously paying for the people that are going to use it the most, you know, that really are going to use it, which for me, I mean, I would want everybody in my store for that to happen, but I realize there's various dealership cultures where you might have somebody that you're already struggling enough to get them to even like turn on their computer. So, and they, you know, there's a lot of partial people that I see that don't even touch the internet. They're like, no, I don't want the internet. I don't even have a smartphone. I don't think anybody on this webinar, but it's $49.99 to get 1,000 text messages. You know, it's $2 per mobile line that you get set up per month. So it's not, I mean, the big picture of things, it's pretty affordable. And then if you want to create pre-made messages and everything, I want to say that's about $95, $96 a month to get all your templates put into place, to be able to utilize the webcam feature and the templates and everything like that. But all that includes the ability for management and everybody to read all the conversations. It includes the widget that we provide for you. So and then if you have, let's say you had an employee that, you know, no longer works there, you could just transfer that line to assign it to another employee.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that question, Arthur. Yeah. He says he's signed up. He's going to start using it. So, all right, Arthur, you got any more questions? Yeah. Contact your good friends over at Phone Ninjas, okay? Okay, last couple of questions. We've really got to button this up. Carolina, she thinks she has figured out the way to get around the authorization issue. She says, can you text? Asking for permission to text.
That's something that I would, like I said, when I was working at a dealership, that was my way of kind of getting around it. But as I've done more research with various, you know, from the legal standpoint of it, you're taking a risk factor of doing it that way. I mean, like I said, when I was using texting, selling cars, I did things like that, and of course, the customer never got upset at me, but you're still taking that risk if you don't go through the proper steps of getting authorization through a widget or through an email response or through some type of written consent.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Carolina. Heather, she says, are Phone and Text Ninjas approved vendors through GM?
Okay, so I will say this. I wasn't, man, this is crazy. So if you follow me on Facebook, I was going to make this really big announcement that I haven't done yet. But Jerry Tebow.
Wait. Are you about to make a huge announcement right here for the first time ever?
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's crazy. I wasn't going to, but I'm like, okay.
Do it!
So GM is actually going to be holding a conference tour. It's called the Compass Tour. And it's for GM dealerships, and Jerry Tebow and I have been recruited to be part of that tour. So
what?
Yeah. So it's going to be various cities. We're kind of going to go to various. I think it ends the last city that it ends with is in Vegas. So we all know when Jerry takes you to Vegas, it's a good time.
Make him buy your shoes.
Yeah. So GM is actually holding a tour over the course of the next few months. I think it starts this month, May 18th, in Orlando, and we're going to be featured speakers with them. I don't know if they're an approved OEM vendor, but I will say that we are kind of partnering with them on this Compass tour for the next few months, which is really exciting. It's like my first official OEM corporate event.
No, that's awesome. Congratulations. Please tell Jerry we said
Thank
congratulations too. Carolina wants to know if you're coming to Kansas City, and Heather says, I'm hoping to be in Boston in August for this. So let the landslide of awesomeness begin. This is really, really incredible news. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
Yeah. I did the dates. Gosh, there's so many. I don't know about Kansas City. Boston does ring a bell. Like I said, Jerry and I are going to kind of be in opposing cities so that, we're not just.
You're going to cover as many cities as possible.
Yeah. We're going to kind of split a lot of it up. I know off the top of my head, Baltimore is the one, which is like, everything comes down in Baltimore at that time. Orlando is coming up on May 19th, I believe, and then Las Vegas. There's a lot of different cities. I just can't remember them off the top of my head.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's fantastic news. And Carolina, I'm sure that there's going to be a schedule someplace that you're going to know about. So try and catch them if you can. They're always, both her and Jerry Tebow are just amazing presenters, as of course you've already seen today as evidence. And Carolina, Heather wrote in, she says the schedule is already on the GM program info. So there you go.
Oh,
thank you. That's it. They already let the cat out of the bag, Elise.
All right. They did. I mean, obviously the event's coming up, and I was going to make like a video on it with Facebook and a banner, but all of it, anything that I do, because it's GM, has to get like any graphic art or anything like that is supposed to get disapproved through them. So that was the only. But as far as GM dealers knowing, they probably did receive some type of itinerary or schedule for it already. So,
Elise, you're the bomb. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today. It was a really wonderful presentation. We do appreciate it, and hopefully I'll get you back on the show as soon as I can. Maybe it'll coincide with one of your GM talks. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again. It was great to be here, and I know the last time we did it, I was like, oh, I'm at a dealership, I gotta go, because I was literally like on a lunch break. But I'm a little bit. Now I'm just, I have a little bit of a drive home after this, but I have my coffee, and I'm not really on too much of a time constraint today. So.
Thank you for staying long. We do appreciate it, and thank you for getting to all those questions. I know the audience appreciates it, and of course, audience, hey, guess what? I'm going to remind you again, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. All you have to do is go to DealerOn.com/webinars, and there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. Also, this webinar is going to conclude in just a moment, and when it does, you're going to get a short survey. Fill it out. We're always looking for your feedback. We want to know what you thought about today's presentation. We're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. Now, invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next DealerOn webinar. Check this title out. Likes don't pay bills. Sales do. Strategies that reach more and sell more. It seems as though too many dealers today might be distracted by the shiny object called social media and not focused on what really has and always will pay the bills. Sales. That being said, technology and the internet have forever changed the way consumers shop for automobiles, and if your selling style hasn't kept up with the changing times, then your dealership is definitely losing sales and market share. So, are your current selling strategies effective on today's car shoppers? Well, in this eye-opening one-hour webinar, Bill Wittenmeyer will discuss how dealers can use high-level, consistent engagement and technology to influence today's automotive shoppers throughout their decision journey. Attendees will gather exclusive strategies and tips that will generate remarkable customer connections. He'll also share compelling communication plans and in-store sales tactics that can be implemented immediately to drive higher sales revenue and retention. If you're ready to learn strategies that reach more and sell more, then this is a webinar you just can't afford to miss. So don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, feel free to contact me directly. Again, my name is Eliana Raggio. I love hearing from you, so track me down online. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, I'm on all the automotive social networks, or email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. DealerOn.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on another webinar in DealerOn's continuing education series. Take care.